Hello for the final day of
Hello.
the Olympics.
I know, it's over. It's
It's
very
over.
sad.
And with the extinguishing of the Olympic flame, Chris and I are separated to other parts of the country once again.
I know, just, yeah, exactly. The torch relay has ended for us. We're now separated. Yeah, it was good fun though to be able to watch, well, a week of it with you, I guess. It was a week,
Yeah,
wasn't it, pretty much?
yeah,
Yeah, it
it's
was good
weird
fun.
to. Time's been such an abstract concept recently, uh,
Yes, it really has.
with sort of sleeping at random times, just sort of between the sports you want to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting more than 5 hours consecutive sleep tonight. I think five was probably my record.
Yeah, even when there have been times when I've had a bit more time for sleep and my body's still like, no, no, you only need 3 hours. That's what you do now. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure how restful my sleep will be over the next few days. But
Yeah, I'm either gonna be out for like 12 hours straight, or I'm gonna wake up in about 4 hours time and be like, why are you not watching sport?
if anyone's watching and they have a memory that they want to share from these Olympic Games, we'd love to hear it. It's been. I'm really sad it's all over, but then I'm
Oh,
also.
I know.
I mean, I'm glad we had it. These were the Olympic Games that almost weren't, and they were, even
Yes.
if it was without any crowds or anything. But
I'll be honest, I didn't really notice there wasn't the crowds there. You watched London back and you're like, oh yeah, of course, now I miss it, but it didn't feel like I missed it when I watched it, if that makes sense.
yeah, no, I completely get what you mean. It's like somehow it maybe we've become so used to watching sports events without crowds that the atmosphere sort of built itself,
Yeah.
even if it
Yeah,
wasn't,
no.
even if it wasn't 60,000 people roaring Carsten to his new world record.
It was us live from Matlock.
Yeah, I bet he could hear us. We were pretty loud.
Yeah. I know. But no, it's been a good final day as well. I mean, there's still been sport happening.
Yeah, I will get that up. Why is it?
I
Oh,
mean, I
they've
guess we'll
changed the
fit.
website now.
Oh no, what have they changed it to? Is it
Oh no, it's
Paralympic
fine. It's fine. I
website?
found it. I'm just being a technophobe.
Obviously, the men's marathon was at well
Yeah.
11 p.m. UK time last night, so that was the last of the athletics and the last. It's traditionally on the final day, which I love. That it's still one of the last events, and they always have the medal ceremonies at the closing ceremony, which is always great.
Um,
Um,
as I'm yet to watch the closing ceremony, I take it they managed to do that and fly them out in time.
yes, both men's and women's were done there. Actually, it was nice.
Oh, that's good as far as equality is concerned. Given that it was always like, oh yeah, why is it just the men?
Yeah. But no, it was a good marathon as well. It was interesting to see how they'd get through it. But I mean, Kipchoge, it wasn't even looking in hindsight. There was no doubt.
Yeah,
Like there was a lot of like, "Oh, will he do it? He didn't win his last marathon. That's unusual for him." And then, as you can see, won by a minute 20 seconds.
and of course, perhaps the winner being on more of the predictable side, but the silver and bronze medalists, I don't think we would have thought the Netherlands and Belgium would be where those medals
No,
would be going.
no, exactly. It was a nice surprise, and it was quite close as you can see there, between the second, third, and fourth. But yeah, no, a Dutch and Belgian medalist in the marathon.
Yeah. Sadly, not to be for Japan. Oh, that light's gone out. To be for Japan. Can I get more light in? Sorry.
So what you?
I'm going dark.
I
Uh,
know. I know the Olympic flame's gone out.
yeah, the battery's also out
And
on the ring light.
oh dear.
Um, and I don't think I can recharge it because I think it's broken now. But yeah, well, not to be for Japan with a road medal. We were hoping for that, given how crazy Japan are about road racing. I don't know whether a larger crowd would have helped them. There were crowds in Sapporo, not huge, but decent.
Yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, he wasn't. He did all right. It was a couple of minutes off the medals, but yeah, a good performance, and Tanzania represented in the top eight as well.
Yeah. And with Galen Rupp, medalist from the last Olympic marathon, back there in eighth. So a solid performance for him, but yeah, not anywhere too close in contention on that front.
And then I guess from a British point of view, Callum Hawkins tried to go with the pace, ended up not finishing. Chris Thompson was way off the pace, but then worked his way back up a little bit. I think where did he finish in the end?
54th in 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 29 seconds.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, and then Ben Connor, I think, also didn't
did not finish.
Did not finish, so not a great showing for the Brits in that marathon. But while I've been more confident for Callum Hawkins on other occasions, this one for some reason I didn't feel massively confident.
Yeah, I mean, we know he struggled with the heat in the past, but I think for me it was more the fact we haven't really seen him race that much lately. It
Yeah.
feels like maybe he hasn't been in great shape. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
And then also today we had the finals of a few sports. Basketball with the USA beating Japan in the women's tournament.
Yeah, I think they're always going to win that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think particularly the women's basketball is perhaps even more dominant than in the men's side.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, boxing. We had an Irish gold.
Yes, their second gold of these games. It's very unusual that they would ever win two in a single Olympics.
Yeah, so yeah, I think she was waving the flag in the closing ceremony as well. So yeah, great performance. Looking at the scores there, it's pretty one-sided as well. So
Yeah.
dominant gold medal there for Ireland.
Yeah, one thing I did find quite funny with the sort of when they're announcing the winners in boxing is that the Brazilian person's acting all confident, like, yeah, I've won, and sort of that they're keeping this show up even though it's been decided. And I'm sure that she probably knew as well that she had not won.
Yes, it was a little bit silly. Yeah, and then obviously looking at other medals that were won in the boxing, Cuba, no surprises that they've won more boxing medals, and Uzbekistan there getting a nice medal. But I guess we should mention what ended up being the final British medal and the final British gold medal was Lauren Price there. We kind of said yesterday that was probably our best chance of a gold medal today. Yeah, I mean she's done well. She was a former kickboxer, former footballer, swapped around loads of sports. Always wanted to get an Olympic medal, and she's done it.
Yeah, I loved hearing her on the radio talking about how she'd done a bit of football and she'd done. You mentioned the kickboxing, and it just sort of surprised me that she'd done. And I think she'd played for Wales nationally at football.
Yeah.
So she's clearly talented on many fronts, but an Olympic gold medalist in boxing, and Wales the first Olympic gold medalist for Wales in boxing.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, yeah, good for her to get a medal. I think because the boxing team's obviously done really well. We've had lots of medals, but we've only had the two golds. And it was nice that there was a man and a woman to carried that on a little bit, because obviously that's what we've been used to with Nicola Adams.
Yeah. And with so it was Cuba that topped the boxing medal table, so they've had an absolute stormer there, but it was Britain with that. I think Britain won more medals in the boxing, just of different colours. I think we won 2 of each.
Yeah. No, that's a good performance given that. I think it is our best. It's not statistically our best ever, but I think in recent Olympics it's been by far our best. So
yeah,
a good performance.
We also had track cycling in the wee hours. You were better at staying up for it than I was.
Yes, Alex said he was going to set his alarm and watch it, and then I woke up just like 3:30, and then went in. And you were watching it, but then you were like half asleep.
It was that sort of a sleep where you're vaguely aware of what's going on around you. So I was aware when Jason Kenny, I was aware that he'd won gold, and I was like, cool. And I was aware that Laura Kenny didn't get gold, but I couldn't have told you like how it happened in any way until I saw them back.
Well, let's go through how it happened. I guess we'll start with the Omnium with Laura.
Yeah.
Scratch race, disaster, not for no fault of her own, crashed out. 0 points really, effectively, wasn't it? I think it was a DNF technically. So not the best start to your Olympic title defence when you're double Olympic Omnium champion. So I think from then on it was always a bit of an uphill struggle. And then they had the tempo run, which she did a lot better in. I think she won that one, didn't she?
I think she did. I think that suddenly looked like she was potentially back in contention.
Yes, but then you said that. Well, you said that she said that there was not enough of a gap between the tempo run and the elimination race, because elimination race is normally the one that she dominates.
Yeah.
That's kind of her thing. And it was like as I literally came in to see you to watch this, I just sat on the sofa and watched. I was like morning like, or whatever, and I was like, it was a Laura Kenny's out of the elimination race. I was like, oh god, I've ruined it. I've jinxed her. And we just literally just sat down and she'd gone out, and I couldn't believe it.
And then yeah, she was unable to get back into it on the points race, which is normally a solid performer in, but
Yeah.
she had a huge amount to do. And
Well, you've only
although
got 80 laps, and you've got those like 10 sprints, as it were, or 8 sprints. Sorry. It was tough. So she was getting lots of points and winning the sprint, but she just couldn't get a lap because there was just too many of them.
but it was sort of hearing her speak to the BBC afterwards. It was nice that she didn't seem too bothered about it. You could tell that she really wanted that Madison gold from the other day,
Yes.
and that defending her medal in the in the Omnium, it wasn't so high on her priorities. Flick22S saying in the chat, I hope the UCI bin this version of the Omnium is too samey. Yeah, I think I agree,
Yes.
because it doesn't have enough sprinting in it. They used to have like a flying lap in there
Yeah.
and a lot of other things, and then yeah, seems to be much more. It doesn't feel so much of a multi-event. Just you're all riding
Yeah.
distances.
And they've condensed it obviously a lot as well, which it used to be spread over a couple of days. Um, eh, yeah, I don't know. The UCI mess with everything too much, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Every Olympics, something else has changed, and you're like, oh come on, guys, just keep some consistency. The Omnium is a good event. I like it. I think it works well. If you're gonna take out the points race, if you're gonna take out the kilo, like they have done over the last 20 years, and then I don't mind you making this event, but then at least try and make it some relevance to what you initially had. Because now, like you say, it is too samey.
yeah, and it's. I think it was a chance to give more endurance, but we have the Madison now. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need. Do we need another endurance medal when we've got the Madison back in, which obviously she won.
And also, I've got a thing that really bothers me when federations will change the format. Where it's like every Olympics, you seem to have a different format. It's something that's been bothering me a bit about modern pentathlon. That I think it
Yes.
does sort of just isolate people a bit, so that people who aren't going to see it between Olympic games aren't going to be able to follow it as easily. And I think it stops you from building an audience as easily.
And especially if you did watch the track cycling world championships, you still see the scratch race, you still see the points race, you still see the kilo. It's
Yeah.
all they're all the world champs. Then you go to the Olympics, you're like, hang on a sec, what's going on here? So you can't have too much differential between what the Olympics and the worlds, because not many other sports have that much of a change. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think they need to have a bit of a look at it. And the same with the modern pentathlon. I mean, I don't know if this 90-minute thing is going to work or not.
I suppose it's difficult with cycling in that they have a limited quota of athletes, and they've got to split it across 4 different codes of cycling. They've got mountain biking, BMXing, road cycling, and track
Yeah.
cycling. And I think often track cycling is treated as the poor relation of road cycling. Uh,
Yeah, I mean they got rid of the kilo for the BMXing first time round. They got rid of the individual pursuit. I think for maybe it was maybe it was something else. And then yeah, obviously I think they got rid of it for the Omnium actually, and then they've obviously got rid of or tweaked other things to then make way for the freestyle and all that. So yeah, I could understand they need to move things around a little bit and spread the love, but yeah, make the Omnium a little bit more of a variety than just another endurance event.
yeah. And then, well, we'll look at
So yeah,
some.
so we should probably say the American won it, which was actually really important. I didn't realize how crucial that was for America topping the medals table because they were behind China, and
Mm,
they knew they were going to win the basketball, but then they needed another gold, and obviously they lost the boxing, and it was like so it actually turned out to be the Omnium, which was not expected. I don't think she's not. I mean, she's decent, but I wouldn't say she was one of the favourites, and Japan getting the silver there, and shout out to Kirsten Wild as well. What 38 now? She's been to loads of Olympics over the years. Multiple world champion on the track, one of the legends of the sport, and that is actually her first Olympic medal. So she
Wow.
was so emotional. But the points race, she was like hanging. She had to fight for that bronze as well. So well done to her to finally get that Olympic medal at the age of 38.
Yeah, also, it's, of course, it's the first Olympic Omnium that hasn't been won by Laura Kenny. But you think it was always Sarah Hammer was like the person who was always
Yeah,
threatening for it a while. So it feels almost right that it's an American that takes the gold as the next champion.
yeah, definitely. But then
Um,
let's talk about how Mr. Kenny got on.
yeah, this was quite a surprise, really. He hadn't been looking particularly good all week. Um,
Well, he
and
only made it through the repechage, didn't he? To make it
yeah,
to the semis, he had to go through the repechage, and him and Jack Carlin looked a lot better, but then he ended up not making the final, and then Jason was the one in the final,
yeah, and
and
it was.
just
I don't think I've ever seen a Kieran raced like this before, where seemingly everybody else had dropped off the pace of the Derny before the Derny had even fully pulled off, and Jason just went with it. He was like, "Actually, this is my chance. Look, hold the word. If I go fast and hold on, then at least it's a medal. It may not be gold, um,
yeah,
but it
it was
was a
just
gold."
he might not have had the pace in his legs that he used to have, but he still got the tactical brains, and he just saw obviously as the Derny bike was going to pull off, he looked around, and was like, they're not with me, they're behind, they were all looking around at each other, like looking at the Aussie guy, looking at the Dutch guy who'd won the sprint, and obviously Wang is one of the best Kieran riders in the world, and they're all looking at each other, and Kieran is like, as soon as that he looked around like once, then he kind of looked around again and was like, right, I'm going.
Yeah,
And as soon as that Derny bike pulled off, he just went for it, and they were not going to catch him.
and yeah, it was a sight to behold, and that makes him the outright most successful Brit at in terms of Olympic medals. He's got 7 golds now, which is an astonishing amount to think of.
And
Um,
in that household, there's got 15, I think.
yeah, which is more than India in history.
Wow, that's
So
ridiculous.
yeah, one family more than India.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Of course, it's all relative. I'm very excited. I'm still very excited for Chopra's gold in the javelin. Good few days on.
Yeah, I think he had I think I just read that he had 126,000 Instagram followers before Tokyo. He's now to 2.8 million.
He's gonna be very rich.
Yeah, and I
um,
guess we should just wrap up the last cycling medal was the women's sprint.
yeah. Canada. I don't think I've seen Canada win a sprint medal before. I know that they've sort of been last decade or so. They've been up there in terms of medals at the Olympics in various distances.
Hmm.
But I feel like this is new.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't feel like I haven't watched too much track cycling over the last few years, to be honest. But since Rio, so I'm a bit out of the loop. But no, it's nice to see a different country. So I thought the Chinese and the German I thought that was going to be the final,
Yeah,
but it was the bronze final. So what do I know?
because yeah, Liu, I'd say that was looking, or say, well, I'd say Lee. I'm not sure which order, but yeah, she was looking amazing and invincible. But there she is in the bronze medal match.
Yeah. And
Um,
so that was
yeah,
another successful track cycling program. I mean, I guess for the Brits it was not as good as previous years, but still good enough.
yeah, it wasn't. I mean, perhaps if it was like the strength it was in previous years, maybe we would have been giving Japan more of a threat on the overall medal table. But I think that the astonishing level of success we've had in the cycling, we've always said it would come to an end at some point.
Yeah.
And if this is like the more sustainable level of success, I think we can be happy with that.
Yeah, I think we're more kind of back. We're not Rio, London, and Beijing were exceptional, and I think we're kind of back to that kind of middle ground between Athens and Beijing. Athens we got a couple of golds. It was 2 golds and a few silvers and bronze. So this is a kind of between the two, which is a kind of happy place for us to be.
Yeah. Um, we had the handball decided today. The women's gold medal match ensured that the Russian Olympic Committee couldn't overtake Britain on the overall medal table. So I think that some people were sort of very much supporting France in that match for that reason.
Yeah, good work, France, and Norway beating Sweden there to the bronze.
Yeah. In the rhythmic gymnastics, it was Bulgaria that won the group, meaning that the Russian Olympic Committee didn't take any gold medals in rhythmic gymnastics.
Wow.
which is
Then
quite a turn up for the books.
Italy getting bronze, another good. Well, again, they had their Italy have had their greatest ever Olympics, so
Yeah.
good work from them. And then yeah, another not another surprise, but USA winning the volleyball as well. That was another medal that caused them to help overtake China. I think that was again a tough one because Brazil are pretty good, so that was maybe not as expected, but it was a straight set to win.
Yep.
And Serbia getting the bronze there from Korea.
And I think it was the water polo that was the final sport
Mm.
of Tokyo 2020, or at least the Olympic Games of Tokyo 2020. And well, in the women's, oh no, sorry, it was just men. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. It was Serbia beating Greece, and what was quite a cagey match. It was sort of going back and forth, and Greece were getting themselves back into it, but Serbia managed to hold on, and then Hungary getting the bronze medal there.
Yeah, yeah, it was a nice way to end it. Obviously, it would have been quite fitting if Greece had won it because obviously they are the Olympics in a way. So,
Yeah,
but no, Serbia get the last gold of the games. China had the first, Serbia have the last. So yeah, a nice way to bookend what has been 16 days of incredible sport and multiple medals being won.
yeah. So with that, I guess it's sort of good time to sort of ask what your highlights from these Olympics have been overall.
Ooh, I don't know. Should we just should we have one look at the medals table? I just want to
Oh,
double
good
check.
thinking, good
I've
thinking.
not actually seen the final one properly, so I want to just pore over it a little bit. Um, I know that obviously USA was said just beat China to it.
By a single
Um,
gold medal, but I mean the USA
I
had
think
fun.
so. I think the cycling one was the one they weren't expecting to get today. So that was yeah very close. Good work from the US team USA to get that little lead. But then you can see that from the medal count, massively ahead.
Yeah, a good showing for China. It's good to see that it's sort of a nice little rivalry there. Kind of like harking back to the Cold War days, but maybe just a bit less hostile.
But it does feel a lot closer, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
normally feels like they're really far ahead, and it's like, oh, okay, this is like they're not that far ahead, really.
Oh yeah, I think China have sort of come back to get over the indignation of being beaten by Britain in Rio.
Yes.
Um,
Um, Japan obviously had their greatest ever gains by miles. I think 16 was their best ever gold count. So 27 is 11 more, and that's and the fact that they weighted theirs more towards the gold as well. Like only 58 medals, but 27 gold, so a good return.
Whereas Britain had a very balanced total there,
Mm.
22, 21, 22.
Yeah, I'm a little
Um,
bit annoyed we didn't get that other silver.
yeah, I would have really liked that actually. But so yeah, we in terms of the medal count, we equalled the number from London, and it's only two down from Rio, which is
Mm.
I don't
Better, a
know.
lot better than expected. I mean, we coming into this, we were kind of saying fifth would be a good result for Britain, so fourth is excellent, really.
Yeah,
I mean, that's that's what our fourth Olympics in a row where we've been inside the top four. So yeah, that shows that for those of you that watch the Gold Rush documentary on BBC, which is about UK sports lottery funding of the British team, it's really showing how it is still working, and we are picking and choosing the right people to give our money to, and the medals are coming.
yeah. Um, but yeah, great
Uh,
progress. Russia back in fifth.
but
So
third on the overall medal count,
yeah,
which
I
shows
mean,
that they still have that depth.
I feel like I've been seeing them in almost every sport, so that's sort of unsurprising that they've been getting medals everywhere.
I think we should give Australia a shout out for one of their best Olympics in an awful long time.
Yeah,
I mean, again, only 46 medals, but look at how many golds they've got there. 17.
yeah, because I think they'd had a good games in Athens actually, because they got some more golds in Athens than they actually did in Sydney. But from Beijing onwards, it's sort of a steady decline until here.
Yeah. So I guess with 2032 on the horizon, they'll be gathering their people. Well, I guess not many of the team now will be there competing at that, but they'll be getting a few play things in order, inspiring the next generation, ready for those games.
And
And I
then
love seventh to tenth, all on 10 medals, and all reasonably close on the medal count there. With there's four European nations, and we said going into it that the Dutch and the Italians were going to have a very very good Olympics, and it's proved to be because they're both in the top 10.
yeah, and five of Italy's golds there from
Mm.
athletics. none of the other medals are from athletics. But that's a really satisfying number as well. 10, 10, 20.
Yeah, again, the fact that they were seventh on the medal list in terms of medals won with that 40, which is a huge haul for them. I guess they would maybe have liked a few more golds. One more gold would have put them seventh on the medals table, which is obviously quite important that they're actually down in 10th. But again, it's still their greatest ever Olympics, so they've got a lot to celebrate there.
And Canada having an absolute stormer of
Mm.
Olympics. You think back in 2012 they only got one gold. I'm not sure if they even got any golds back in Beijing. And here they are with
Yeah,
7.
yeah, they've really. So although they're doing better, like I said, in a lot of sports that we wouldn't normally see them do well in. So obviously they won the women's football. They won in the velodrome today. They've always been solid at events like diving and a few others. But yeah, this has been a very good return.
Yeah, not to mention the gold in the decathlon. I think, greatest
Yep,
male athlete in the world, Damien Warner.
over 9,000 points, and he was waving the flag at the closing ceremony today for Canada. Um, but I guess we should mention Brazil as well. Not a bad return to be from being the host to then finishing top 12 in the games after. That's pretty good.
Yeah, largely consistent medal haul. I think was it 9 golds they had in
Yeah,
Rio.
I can't remember, but
It
yeah,
was it
something
was
like that.
it was something in the region of 7 to 9. I think. New Zealand doing well.
I think New Zealand have had really good games. Cuba, they've had a good games as well. Obviously, boxing's helped a lot with that. Hungary and Poland are kind of very strong in a few sports. And I guess, like I said, Norway obviously athletics have brought them quite a lot of medals. But I think what's been great is the fact that we've had so many different nations winning medals. I
Yeah,
mean, I think is this the best? Did they say it was the best most number of nations since Beijing?
it may well have been how many. So we've got 8. Joint 86. So 86, 7, 8, 9, 90, 91, 92, 93 nations winning a medal.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Ireland having a good showing with their 2 gold medals, as we said. 39th overall, tied with Israel.
Yeah, two gold, two bronze. Good return.
Yeah.
Um,
If we're going to talk at the other end, perhaps a bit disappointing for South Korea. They've been top 10 the last few Olympics, and they're a bit of a way
yeah,
back in 16th.
yeah. I do feel like they had a lot of close, like near misses. It feels like they were in a lot of finals and performing well, but not quite getting the golds.
Yeah, sort of think of them sort of in, say, the modern pentathlon, which you don't often see them in. Um, and yeah, there were quite a few events where it's like, oh, and the gymnastics, they started making a
Yeah,
bit more of a name for themselves, but perhaps it was their more core events that didn't deliver for them.
yeah. But overall, it's been a jolly good games for most of the nations.
It has. So back to my question. What was your highlight from?
Oh gosh, there's so many.
So you say, let's just go athletics.
Okay, athletics highlight. Um, I will go with the moment that actually was closest I went to crying, which was the men's high jump. I
Yeah,
think for me it was just as we were watching the competition, I kept saying, "Oh, what?" Because I kept asking everyone like, "Who do you want to win?" And we were all pretty much split between Barsham and Tamberi. It was pretty even, and I think it was the same for a lot of people actually. Even listening to some other podcasts building up to it, it was like, "Oh, well, I want Barsham to win. I want Tamberi to win." The fact that that was the Backstreet Boys, they were split between them.
yeah.
They
Split
both
the twins.
wanted. So I was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be great?" Because like jumping to a clear at the same height, first time. I was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if like there was a jump off, or we didn't have the jump off, and they could just share the gold." And then that moment when the official just went up to Barsham, and Barsham went, "Can we have two golds?"
Yeah,
And the jumper was like, "Okay," and then Barsham was like, "Should we do it?" And Tamberi was like, "Yes." It was like the great. Oh, they're
I
they're
think the
such good
beauty of it is I
friends.
don't think that Tamberi thought that Barshim would split
Yeah.
the gold, and then that's what sort of led to the springing into his arms.
It's that moment of like, they've both been through so much to get there. They've had, it's the journey for them both is, incredible. The fact that they're really good friends as well. Like, we
Hmm.
were found out today. I didn't realize that Barsha went to Tamberi's wedding, so they're like really close, and they've obviously competed together for about best part of a decade. And yeah, it was a beautiful moment. That's exactly what the sport is about, and especially these Olympics in particular. The fact that they changed the motto from, higher, faster, stronger to then together as well, and that was a great moment of unity in the
Yeah.
sport. So what was your highlight?
So athletics wise, Of course, I think we had one of the greatest races ever in the 400 hurdles, but I think I'll go with Yulima Rojas in the triple jump because that just seemed so incredulous that she did that in the final round in what was just an amazing session. That it just seemed that everything couldn't get it was getting better and better with everything we saw. And for her to do it, given that she'd been threatening it for so long, she finally did it in the Olympic final with her final jump. I thought it was magical.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was yeah. That I think we can say the men's 400-meter hurdles final was the greatest race of the games.
Yeah,
But yeah, if we're doing track and field, we'll separate it like that. Both picked two field ones, and then that was the probably we're both going to say that was the track highlight of the of the whole games.
yeah. And Zoom is telling me that this meeting is running out. I don't know why it's doing that. Um,
Oh,
but
we might be gone in 2 minutes.
so quickly, what was your favourite non-athletics moment?
Well, I guess from a British point of view, I will go back to day two and Tom Daley winning the gold. Again, a journey, fourth Olympics, all the highs and lows he's been through in his life since then, since that little kid that we saw in Beijing. And all he ever wanted was that Olympic gold, and it finally happened. And it was just like, he's done it. He's finally done it, and he's actually got the gold medal. So I guess that's a British point of view. I don't know if I could think of another like international one, but yeah, no, I did really, really enjoy watching him win that gold medal. What about you?
Favourite non-athletics moment? Oh, I will go for that mixed 4x1 medley relay in the swimming,
Yeah,
which was exciting. I think we knew it was going to be exciting. We've discussed many times how we really like the mixed 4x1 medley, but it was just so back and forth, so exciting, um, absolutely thrilling, brilliant addition to the Olympics.
yeah. I guess in terms of other highlights, it's just when at the moments I'm randomly just spontaneously going, yes, oh, go on. When the things that you don't expect to get excited about, like when Sky Brown landed that trick that got her the
Yeah,
bronze medal, and I was like, oh my god, she's done it, and I just found myself shouting at the telly and going, yes. So moments like that where you just don't expect to be excited about things. So
yeah.
yeah, some great additions to the Olympics this time. I really enjoyed watching a lot of the newer sports.
Right. As we're in the final minute, what I'm going to do, I'm going to restart this meeting, but I'm going to try and add on Twitch. I've never tried this before. I don't know how it will happen,
Ooh.
but then hopefully we will able to restart very quickly if we restart the meeting, Chris.
Okay, all right.
So let's do it with that.
Okay. Right, we're back. Okay. Okay, we're back from our technical delay. Who knows when it is? I don't know. I don't even know what day it is. I think I'm back at work tomorrow. It's just been. But no, what have you enjoyed the last 2 weeks? Then what other highlights have you enjoyed? Yeah. Why? Yeah. Yeah.
So nobody heard what I said. I was just talking about how much I loved modern pentathlon, and I just realised I muted myself out of stupidity. But
Oh.
yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. I think I didn't expect both British golds there.
Yeah, I think I, I was optimistic because I've been following the World Cup all year actually. So I've watched every single World Cup that's been on this year. So I knew that Kate French was in good form. She wasn't world number one, whereas Joe Chung was world number one. So it's yeah, they're still doing it on the day, and obviously the horses are the issue, like whether they got through it. That's why I'm mainly focused on the show jumping because I knew Joe in particular is one of the best swimmers. Kate set a PB in the swimming. The fencing they did pretty well at, and then it was all about what you know. I knew they could do the laser on, so it's about whether they got a good horse,
Yeah.
and
Do
luckily
you
they
get a
did. So
stallion or do you get a donkey?
yes, and they both did okay. So no, it was a really good performance from them both, and like you say, it was. I do love the modern pentathlon anyway, so that was one of my faves.
Yeah.
But oh, I don't know. Other ones, I think back to the random like moments of like the Tunisian winning the freestyle swimming in the pool. That
God,
was a
that feels
oh
like
oh my
ancient
god, the guy
history, but that
I
was
know
amazing.
the guy in lane 8 has won the gold. And yeah, the day like I said, the mixed relay day, we had the mixed triathlon, we had the mixed swimming, and we had the mixed athletics, and it was all on one day. And it was nice to see that kind of parity, I guess, in sport. And we saw some first medals for San Marino.
Yeah, two in
Well,
shooting, I think.
we had first gold for the Philippines today, was it? Or the other day? I can't
Um,
remember.
oh, I'm not
What was that?
sure.
That was recently. Oh, but yeah, that was a thing. We had a
Bermuda in
first.
the triathlon, getting their first
Yeah,
ever gold medal.
yeah, lots of that stuff, which is great because I love to see that at the Olympics. Like I say, more medals being won all over the place. So, um, no, but obviously I enjoyed watching the tennis as well. Loads of great things.
Yeah,
That first week, I felt like I just watched everything. Like, because you feel like the first week is when there's more going on because there's more, sports happening and they need to get rid of a few things, and it kind of filters down a little bit as it goes on. But it's good.
yeah, definitely. I do kind of wish I'd caught a bit more of the new sports, but I did really enjoy the what I saw of the sport climbing. It was a bit awkward with how it clashed with some other things that I was were perhaps more established in my mind, so I
Yeah,
wasn't quite able. But I loved the speed bit in particular. That was so exciting. Whether they'd consider having a speed element on its own, I think that could actually make a very interesting gold medal, rather than having to combine it with other sorts of rock climbing.
yeah, and I guess you could argue the same with maybe the laser run from the modern pentathlon. If you made that maybe a I don't know 10, 20K race
Yeah.
with the shooting in like a summer biathlon. I don't know. Maybe that could be a thing.
Well, biathlon certainly
But
has its following, so maybe.
yeah, but no, it's been yeah. I've not watched as much of the new sports that I've liked. I didn't even watch any of the surfing. Saw bits of the speed climbing. Haven't seen any of the karate yet. Was never bothered about softball and baseball.
Yeah,
But I did see a
that
lot.
can go.
I did watch a lot of the skateboarding actually, and I didn't hate it. And a lot of people, some people loved it, some people didn't like it.
I
I felt
really
like
enjoyed. Was it the park? Was that the?
yeah, I knew the part was going to be better because that is what you'd expect a skateboarding competition to be.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the one that was better.
And I mean,
No,
I wouldn't mind if they added in like a straight half pipe competition there either. Actually, I know I've been not been the biggest fan of skateboarding, but I think that would be quite a good watch.
mm.
But maybe I don't know anything, and maybe I sound like an absolute boomer right now. Like, why would you do that?
And I guess looking ahead to Paris, we're going to have breaking in there, bit of breakdancing, so that's another new one. So there's going to be more new spots coming, which is good. Well, I
Yeah.
think it's good. Other people don't.
Ooh. Yeah, with the breaking, like I was when I sort of first heard that was going to first, it was in the Youth Olympics in 2018. I was like, oh, for God's sake, it's like another case of the IOC like guessing what kids like, and the 50-year-old men. I'm not sure. Even though I'm not necessarily down with the kids, um, I didn't think that was it. But then I did actually enjoy it in Buenos Aires. I think the only thing was that the scoring seemed really arbitrary to me, and I'm not sure if that's
Yeah.
befitting of an Olympic competition.
Nice, but then everything will improve. I mean, yeah, I think they're definitely trying to go down the route of getting what sports where there's a bit more artistry and a bit more creativity and a bit more youth to it, and it does have that. It just bring the party for sure. So, yeah, I think that's going to be very very popular actually. And I didn't realize having obviously I've seen the closing ceremony, so I saw a bit of the Paris handover, um, and I'm actually really excited about Paris now. I was immediately looking at like where the venues are because I hadn't really looked into it, and it looks like it's going to be very good games. Like you've got the athletics and the cycling in the kind of the same hub. They're doing like the zones like they did in Rio. So that's going to be kind of that area of Paris, and then obviously the center of Paris. They're going to have a lot of things like the skateboarding and all that is going to be like near the Eiffel Tower in that. Although I can't remember what it's called, but there's loads of. Is it the Place de la Concorde? Is that what it's called?
That is something. I've not actually
Yeah,
been to Paris, I should say, so I'm not certain.
because obviously when I last went to Paris, I randomly went to Paris and by the Eiffel Tower, I went to go see the Eiffel Tower, and there was actually a roller skating competition going on. So I think it was a World Cup event from that. So they use that area for that kind of sport anyway.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think the beach volleyball will be right by the Eiffel Tower as well.
yep, a lot of sports like that are going to be in that area, and obviously the tennis is going to be at Roland Garros, and they're also having the boxing there as well, which is going to be really exciting. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they do it. I know that obviously I think I've heard the handball is going to be in Lille, and a few obviously the sailing is going to be out of Paris, but
And
a
surfing in
lot of them,
Tahiti,
yes,
obviously.
and a lot of it is going to be in the centre of Paris. So it's going to be a more reasonable time zone for us in Europe, and I think it'll be a very popular and successful games if fans and everything's back to normal by then. It should be a roaring success. I'm very excited.
And speaking of venues, one that I'm particularly excited for is the Chateau de Versailles, which will be hosting the Equestrian. So
Mm.
my one concern is transport and how people will get there, but other than that, I think it'll be an absolutely amazing venue for it.
Yeah, and then yeah, I think even the archery had a really good venue as well. It's going to be good. They're going to put on a good show.
Yeah,
So now, and it's only 3 years away.
yeah.
That's
I think that's been the constant thing that perhaps not as many athletes as we would have thought would have expected to retire after these games are, because it they've hung on for these games and actually,
mm,
to,
well, it's another have a year off and then come back.
yeah. And then we've got so much to look forward to next year. Like we've got European Championships in most sports, World Championships in most sports,
Yeah,
Commonwealth Games, which will also be a thing.
yeah. No, there's so much. I mean, back to back world championships. Normally there'd be an off year, like in
Mm,
2 years' time, but there's not. Because 2 years' time is the last year before the Olympics, so you're not going to have much time to kind of get yourself ready if you do want to have a break. So
yeah,
yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many people carry on, and why not have another go at Paris? It's going to be good games. You'd want to be there.
yeah. I mean, my one concern is for athletes who may be looking to do these years through to Paris is that I hope they don't get burnt out, because
Yeah,
it's you don't normally have, that this will be 4 consecutive years of global level competition, at least in
yeah,
athletics and swimming, which you don't necessarily get um, in past Olympic cycles. So hopefully it doesn't do them too much damage, but you know they give their best. They're all at like Europeans and what have you.
yeah. No, it's going to be interesting to see who does what and how people approach the next year in particular. Because you
Mm.
think 2023, everyone who wants to be in Paris will be competing. So
Yeah,
yeah, the next year is going to be really interesting to see what happens. So
yeah. I think it's a particularly tough dilemma for British athletes who will probably want to compete at the Commonwealth Games, particularly because they're home Commonwealth Games. But in most sports, the European Championships would be a bit more prestigious. So
yeah,
they'll want to be doing that, and then they've got to throw in the European Championships,
yeah. It
the
depends. 'Cause
World
I guess
Championships.
like as the world's, I think the worlds in swimming are also before, aren't they? Is that right? I
I
feel like they are.
think so.
Because normally the swimmers would maybe prioritise the Commonwealths because it's maybe a little bit of a stronger competition with the Australians and the Canadians having such strong teams, whereas they go to the Europeans and they probably expect to win more. So certain sports are going to maybe prioritise the Commonwealths over the Europeans or vice versa. But then other sports like gymnastics will have their world after them, so they can then prioritise whatever they feel is the most important, probably Europeans. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see who does what and whether they do the odd individual event or just try and do a bit of everything. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, swimming I've just looked is in May of 2022, so it's a fair bit earlier. It means
Oh, that's quite good then.
not quite as congested as it is for athletics over the summer.
Yeah, I think they'd probably then focus on the Commonwealths over the Europeans actually.
Yeah, because I suppose that with it's that battle of going against Australia
And
for
Canada,
swims
I
and
say, who
Canada. Yeah, because they are becoming a big force to be reckoned with in swimming. To be fair.
and the part of the Australian Olympic success in Tokyo was down to their swim team because they had a few lean years, like London 2012. They did not have a good games in the pool. Rio was a little bit better, but they still underperformed to an extent. So I think it was good to see them back on top
Yeah.
in the pool in Tokyo, and yeah, hopefully they can smash it again in Paris.
Yeah, I was just having a look, so I was wondering if the Pan Pacific Championships were going ahead in swimming, but they've opted to miss it for a cycle
Ah,
because there's so much going on, which means that, yeah, so we won't be seeing that tournament again until 2026.
ah. But no, it's been a good 2 weeks of Olympic sport. I guess. I guess anyone in the chat wants to tell us their favourite moments, you can do.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it. And it's really exciting. I mean, we mentioned the sort of countries winning new medals, like India. I'm really excited about what that will mean for
Mm.
athletics in India. I think in Delhi 2010 we were sort of saying, or maybe that 4x400 gold would be this watershed moment for Indian athletics and sort of bring them into this tournament. And it didn't quite happen, and I think that a few members of that 4x4 team were since found to be on drugs.
Yes.
Um, but I think that was such that hopefully maybe that Chopra winning an Olympic gold medal will do that, and I really hope that they use him to promote the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham next year and make it something that
Yeah.
people of Asian backgrounds will be more interested in, and which is part of the
Yeah.
reason I also really wanted the guy from Pakistan to make it onto the podium, because that would be a fun rival. Well, I say fun; it could be a bit of a toxic rivalry, but it'd be a rivalry nonetheless in sport.
Yeah, so basically, lots to look forward to. Even though the Tokyo Olympics has ended, we must flag up Paralympics are only what 2.5 weeks away.
Yeah, I can't remember the
No, three.
exact
No, hang on. They start on the 24th. When's that?
24th. That is,
Is that 3 weeks away or 2 weeks away? I can't do the maths. Two
it's
weeks away.
yeah, it starts on a Tuesday. So that's how.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So we're basically 2 weeks tomorrow. On two, well, no, 2 weeks on Tuesday. Yeah. Um. So that's obviously going to be great to watch the Paralympics, and then in terms of other sports, like the Athletics Diamond League will be finishing around September time. And then, yeah, then we're not far off a Winter Olympics in February,
Yeah,
which is
well,
ridiculous.
and then in the autumn we'll have the International Swimming League as well.
Yeah.
To
So, yeah,
And then yeah, we'll be getting into winter sports season, and curling will be starting.
yeah. But it doesn't seem that long since the last Winter Olympics to me. I don't know if it's because we had the delay with Tokyo. It doesn't seem that long ago. And all
No,
of a sudden it's here.
yeah, even like in this last season, I was forgetting, like they were saying, oh, next year in Beijing, and I was like, no, that's 2 years away. And then I
Yeah.
was like, oh wait, no, they have a point.
So that's going to be really interesting to see how that all happens as well. And then, so we already said next year we've got Worlds, Commonwealth, Europeans, and then Football World Cup at the end of the year as well. So there's so much sport going on between now and Paris. So it's going to be non-stop, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I mean, I'm really looking forward to the World Championships in Budapest in 2023 as well. Um,
Yeah.
they did such an amazing job with the swimming World Championships, which they held at relatively short notice. And then, I mean, they held the European Championships in the year I was born in athletics. Um, so it'll be good to see.
Yeah, so lots to look forward to. But final word on Tokyo? Anything you want to
Arigato.
add? Yes. Well, that's hey, they used that in the closing ceremony. I don't know if you saw that.
I'll have to catch up. I've got it recorded, but I've not seen. I saw a bit of like clips of fireworks. I was like, no, 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 I want to watch it all together.
But yeah, that was what it kind of finished at. So yeah, it's going to be. Tokyo did a good job given the circumstances. A lot of the athletes were very happy with how it went and how they were treated. And shame that they couldn't stick around and all that kind of stuff and see other sports and enjoy the closing ceremony. But we got an Olympics. It happened. It was amazing. And thank you, Tokyo.
Yeah, and I really sort of one sort of silver lining is that Japan does have a lot of sporting events coming up. They're due to host the Swimming World Championships next year, so hopefully that they'll get crowds for that.
Mm.
I think they're hosting the Asian Games in 2026. There's talk of them potentially hosting the World Championships and the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. in either 25 or 27. So I'd love to see that because I want to see that
Yeah.
stadium full and I want to go to it.
Yes, we'll be there. Book us in already.
Book our pod hotel, what maybe something a bit bigger.
Yes, we'll be rich by then.
Yeah,
We've got
yeah.
time. If people are subscribed to this Twitch page, send us to Tokyo 2025 or 27 World Champs.
Chris is begging for subs. We get our first like one that isn't us yesterday, and then
Yeah, we want more. Subscribe. Click subscribe, and
use
right there, it's just
use
down
your
here.
use your Twitch Prime. I'll I'll link it
Um,
in. Oh, it's not that. It's
um, but yeah, I guess I guess we say thank you everyone for watching us and
yeah.
engaging with us over the last 16 days. We've obviously done a few bits for World Athletics as well, so you're probably sick of seeing us, sick of hearing from us. But I've really enjoyed it, and
But
it's been
joke's
good
on you
fun.
because we'll probably do some of this again for the Paralympics.
Yeah, not long to go. So you probably we'll give you a couple of weeks off, and then we'll be back.
And there's Diamond League to put up with us, and then we're probably going to be doing a lot of other sports over the athletics off season.
Yes, definitely. And then obviously, like I say, Winter Olympics are not too far away, so yeah, lots to come, which is great.
So I guess we should wrap it up there.
Yes.
So
So I need to get some sleep.
yeah, it's weird. I'm feeling a bit emotional yet again, just at the thought of the Olympics being over. And I was emotional when the Olympics started, and now it's over.
I think I was still on that high of like I've just watched the closing ceremony. I'm like, yeah, I'll be okay tonight, and then when I wake up in the morning, that's when I'll be like, oh,
Yeah,
uh, there's no sport on today.
but yeah,
But I think my plan actually is I've worked out between now and the Paralympics. If that is 16 days, we think it is, I might be able to. I might just watch the BBC highlight show today at the games from day one, a box set, watch one a night,
good
and then
thinking.
that'll take me to Paralympics.
Great thinking. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all for joining us once again, and see you soon for
Yes.
more sport.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.